What is up, everybody? Welcome to Off the Grid, a Power Rangers podcast. I am your host, Jacob Bartley, and we are back to action. Thank you for joining me today. It's been 2 weeks since the last episode. I took last week off in order to just celebrate the 4th of July weekend, but we are back, and man, this is one of the biggest episodes of Off the Grid we've ever done because of the possible content that is going on right now. Now, look, we are going to talk about all this recent Power Rangers news going on lately, about Hasbro ending the partnership with Toei, I believe that's how it's pronounced, and the Power Rangers movie reboot details coming up. But I do want to say first and foremost that none of this is 100% confirmed. It is all just being reported by one website, and we will talk about that later. But first and foremost, I just want to say hello to everybody, and I hope everybody's doing well. And yes, this is just a celebration of Power Rangers. And look, I normally am supporting a lot of Mighty Morphin stuff, and that's obvious, right? It's if you've watched this show, you already know that. And to me, it's because I was a 2-year-old when the show started airing, and that's when I started watching it. So that has been stuck with me forever. Now, I know there's a lot of Power Rangers fans out there who consider Mighty Morphin to be not the greatest season of Power Rangers ever, or the greatest seasons of Power Rangers ever. And look, all of this is just everybody's opinion, right? My opinion, your opinion, Power Ranger fans' opinions, they all matter, and no opinion is better than the other. But me personally, I'm drawn more towards the Mighty Morphin stuff. And you, as a Power Rangers fan, you shouldn't get mad at me about that. You shouldn't give my video a thumbs down because of that. You shouldn't leave a nasty comment because of that. You should say, okay, this is this guy's opinion. I have my opinion. We're all Power Rangers fans, so it's all good. Let's celebrate that together. And that's how it should be. I just get this sense that every time I hear somebody, another Power Rangers fan, talking about Power Rangers, they want to crap on Mighty Morphin. And I'm like, okay, maybe you don't think they're the better seasons, but they were the foundation of it all. Of Power Rangers, of this property in the United States, and what Power Rangers has became. It's the root of it, and it still has a heavy presence, and that should be celebrated. It shouldn't be hated on. There's many other seasons that are great and arguably better. And honestly, there's not really an unbiased opinion when you're talking about film or TV, because it is your opinion. So my opinion might be that some of the other seasons are better than Mighty Morphin, and maybe they are. But I personally, those are my favorite. And there's certain seasons I love, right? I love Power Rangers in Space. I think Power Rangers in Space is probably the best season of Power Rangers that I've seen. And I will tell you, I've only watched everything from Mighty Morphin Season 1 to Dino Charge. I'm currently watching Dino Charge. So, I haven't watched RPM, which RPM is a heavily beloved season. And I haven't watched anything past RPM except Beast Morphers. So, I'm coming at it from this perspective. I've only seen Mighty Morphin to Dino Charge. I grew up on Mighty Morphin. I was the right age demographic for when that show was airing. So that is my favorite. And there's certain things about it. Like, I truly think the Mighty Morphin suits look way better than any other suit ever put into existence for Power Rangers. I think the Zords are way better than any other Zords put into existence. But I do think possible seasons like Time Force, like In Space, are better than Mighty Morphin. So it's just all opinion based, and that's totally fine. But the thing is, we should all celebrate this as Power Rangers fans. The reason why I'm talking about this is because when you hear me talk about these two rumors, these two news stories, I'm going to have some opinions that might make some people upset. For one reason, because I'm a huge Mighty Morphin fan, and I just, maybe it's my biased opinion, but I'm going to be in favor of a lot of Mighty Morphin stuff. also, I'm might not have a popular opinion about this Hasbro and Toei contract ending. So let's get to it. Before we move on, I just want to tell you guys about some off the grid merchandise that you can get if you go to tpublic.com and you go type in Apocaflix, Apocaflix. That is a movie YouTube channel that I do, and one of the main guys there, Jake Berlin, he designs these t-shirts there, and he does a fantastic job of them, and he actually made some off the grid merchandise, so you can go there, you can purchase Off the Grid of Power Rangers podcast t-shirts, sweaters, mugs, whatever you want to buy. Go there and check it out, and I will also put the link to that in the description. Okay, so this is crazy because look, there's so many, doing this podcast, I realize there's so many weeks where there's not a lot to talk about, right? Where I have to make up editorial content for the podcast, and I love doing that, like top 5 lists, things like that. But this is, I love this. We have so many things to talk about this week, so many news stories, and again, none of this is confirmed. This is all reported news from one website called Illuminati. And hey, it might be true. They've reported other stuff that ended up being true. So let's see. Don't fully discredit it right away, but don't assume that it's 100% fact right away. You have to take this. Now, sometimes there's news stories that are reported that are true, and they're coming from Variety, The Hollywood Reporter, things like that, and that's usually 95% of the time legit. But when they're coming from non-completely reputable sites, then you just got to take it with a grain of salt, and that's totally fine, and that's what we're doing. So Hasbro is apparently not going to renew their partnership with Toei. And again, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but Toei is the company behind Super Sentai, which, if you don't know this already, which I'm assuming if you watch this podcast, you already know this, but a lot of the footage from most of the Power Rangers seasons, or all of them, is not original footage shot for these American shows. What happens is they have these Super Sentai shows, different versions of them, and they have Saban and Power Rangers have had a deal with them since the early 90s to use that footage and adapt it for American TV shows, shoot original American footage with teenagers, with actors without suits on, and then blend it together to make it look like an original TV show. So that's what they've been doing since 1993. And, obviously they worked on the show before that. So since 92 or so, 91, whenever they started actually working on the show. So basically what's going on is Hasbro is ending their partnership with that company, allegedly. This doesn't mean Power Rangers is over. This doesn't mean we're not going to get a version of the TV show going forward. This doesn't mean that Power Rangers is canceled, which I see a lot of videos have the title of. This just means that Power Rangers is changing. And that's why I named my title of my video, Power Rangers is Changing Forever. And what I said about why I might have a controversial opinion on this, I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. And look, I might get a lot of hate. I might lose all my subscribers for that, but it's just my opinion. It might be for the better. Now look, don't get me wrong, I love the adapted footage that they've used to make these shows, because I would never got Power Rangers in the first place if it wasn't for it, obviously. But things are going to change. We have a new company in charge. And also, I hear a lot of hate towards Hasbro. Honestly, Hasbro might be saving Power Rangers. There's a high possibility that, look, in order for Power Rangers to move forward and adapt, they need to do some new things. And I think a healthy movie franchise is a good thing for Power Rangers. And as much as I love that 2017 movie, it did not perform well at the box office. And I think Hasbro has some really cool plans moving forward in the future with the movie franchise. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit here. But listen, let's take a look at some of the things that Illuminati is reporting, and let's go at these one by one. So apparently, and this is one of them, so this is from their website, Hasbro will reportedly not be continuing their partnership with Toei, including the use of footage from Super Sentai for the Power Rangers television series. This means that according to our sources, Super Sentai will no longer be a factor in the production of Power Rangers. And that's basically what I've been talking about. And now look, when you're doing this, when you're adapting this footage, right, you are limited in your storytelling. You only can do what that footage allows you to do. Maybe they shoot some stuff outside of that. And look, we already heard that Beast Morphers was probably the one season where they mostly shot original footage. So Hasbro's already moving in this direction. So I think that it'll open up the doors creatively if they do decide to move forward with the TV show. And look, there's also this thing that the contract also ends the same time with Nickelodeon, and we know that Dino Fury is the last planned season right now with Nickelodeon, with Hasbro, and their contract expires after that. So maybe they move it to a new network. Maybe we get a new like a continuation of Power Rangers, similar to the way we've had it, but instead of adapting the Super Sentai footage, they just make brand new original stuff. I'm not saying that that's better than adapting Super Sentai footage, but it's not the end of the world. It's possibly a good thing. The doors open up a lot more creatively because, look, what happens is, and I don't know this for a fact, but I'm pretty sure there's no other way that this could happen, is the creators of Power Rangers, like each person working on each season and all the people working on each season, what they have to do is they have to watch this Super Sentai footage and build their season around that footage. Now, if they do move forward with these traditional kid-friendly shows on Nickelodeon-type networks, if in live-action form, if Hasbro decides to continue with that, then the creators will have no restrictions other than budgetary limitations, but they'll be able to do whatever they want with it, not restrained to the actual Super Sentai footage. So I don't think that's the worst thing in the world, but I totally understand why people are upset, because this is what Power Rangers is. Adapting Super Sentai and making an American show with it is what Power Rangers is. I understand why people are upset. I don't want to be insensitive to that. I already know, I'm going to get a lot of hate for my opinions on this, but what am I supposed to do? I have to tell my honest opinion. So I can't just get on the bandwagon and act like I'm completely upset about this, like a lot of Power Rangers fans are. So this is what else Illuminati said about this. So our sources are also telling us that this could mean 2021's Power Rangers Dino Fury will be the last season of the long-running franchise after their contract with Nickelodeon expires. So that's also, we kind of just addressed all of that. So they continue. Now, another thing that our sources have confirmed is that Hasbro is committed to their upcoming Power Rangers movie that is in development over at Paramount. We will have more information about the new movie within the next couple of days, so be sure to stay tuned for that. So that's the information on the movie, which we're going to talk about here in a second. That's what they're talking about. And look, whether or not you like the Transformers movies, they have made a buttload of money. And look, I know it's not all about money. I mean, to us, to the fans, it's not all about money. To the companies, it is. I think that we need Power Rangers movies to make money if we want to see Power Rangers reach its full potential. And that means for the movies and the TV shows. Several Transformers movies have made over $1 billion. I doubt we'll ever see the day that a pure Power Rangers film makes over $1 billion. And not because I don't want it to, of course I do, but I'm just being realistic. But we just need a Power Rangers franchise to make 600, 700 million at the box office. There's speculation that possibly they cross over Transformers, G.I. Joe, and Power Rangers one day, which they could do, and we're not going to get into that right now because that's a whole other can of worms. But I just think that with Hasbro, with Paramount, they've done it before. The first Transformers movie is really good. Bumblebee is great. Most of the Transformers movies have made close to, if not $1 billion. So, as far as making movie franchises, Hasbro and Paramount know what they're doing. And us as Power Rangers fans, we need a financially successful Power Rangers movie. The 2017 movie was loved by a lot of people, and I love it more than you could ever know. I have problems with it, but I love that movie more than you could ever know. But it made barely $100 million at the box office, which they lost money on. Trust me, they lost millions of dollars on that, and tens of millions of dollars on that. And we're lucky that Hasbro's even looking at making another Power Rangers movie. We really are, because Hollywood studios are not in the business of losing money. So we are lucky that we're getting another chance. So basically, regarding the contract ending with Hasbro and Toei, look, I don't want this to happen. I'm not saying I want this to happen, because this is what Power Rangers is. I would love for the relationship between them and the way that Power Rangers has always been made to go on forever, because I know how much it means to people, and I just can't ignore that, right? It's very important, but it's not the end of the world. Look, Hasbro spent over $500 million on Power Rangers. They didn't buy it to just cancel the show. There's no way. The toys make so much money, which Hasbro's a big toy company, and they have plans for the movies, and they have plans. Trust me, they have TV plans too. And I don't know that, but I guarantee you they have TV plans too, whether it's live action, animation, whatever. They have plans. So Power Rangers is not going anywhere. I can guarantee you that. But it's probably changing as we know it. And look, you might be extremely upset about that, but we got to wait and see. It could be a good thing. Who knows? You're just going to have to wait and see. And look, I just think I'm trying to be an optimist, and I think there's possibility here for something really cool. And whether that's a high budget live action series on Netflix, on whatever streaming service Paramount has, or on Amazon, whatever. Something, an 8 to 10 episode series where it's very high production value, something like The Mandalorian, or something like even just on the Flash and Arrow level, something like that. Could be really cool. So yeah, and I'm look, my dream scenario for Power Rangers is just all platforms striving. But I'm a movie guy. I want Power Rangers movies. And not, look, the TV shows are Power Rangers. They wouldn't exist without them. But I really want successful Power Ranger movies. So let's talk about these other details also coming from Illuminati regarding Power Rangers. Now they put out an initial release regarding this, but later on they put out an update, which this is crazy to me. And I think this is maybe the coolest part about this. So their update was, we have a major update regarding this story. As mentioned in the attached video, our sources have told us that the upcoming Power Rangers movie will be taking place in the same continuity of the TV show. This means that the Rangers / characters throughout the past 28 years will be in the same continuity as the new movie Power Rangers. You know what I just realized? They've been making Power Rangers for 28 years. You know how old I am? I'm 28. I'm about to turn 29, but that's crazy. I basically been around the same amount of time as Power Rangers has been. Cheers, y'all. This is kind of cool. Now look, let's read the whole story and then we can talk about this because it kind of ties into this. So look, according to our sources, who have once again asked to remain anonymous, it seems that Hasbro will be putting all bets on their live-action Power Rangers movie that is currently in development at Paramount, as well as further focus on MMPR, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So that's what I was talking about with MMPR. Look, I love MMPR. Give me everything MMPR. Look, if you're a Power Rangers fan, do you love the comics? Do you love Lord Draken and all that stuff? That all came from MMPR. So if you want to see Lord Draken stuff in the future, animated, live action, movies, whatever the case is, that all stemmed from MMPR. And look, it expands past that. That storyline expands to all Power Ranger stuff. So we could possibly see all of it involved. They went on to say, now to be clear, what we're reporting is what is in the script in its current state. The script could very well change in its time as the movie is still in pre-production, but what we are reporting is on how it is right now. So that's understandable, right? Obviously, like, if their source is true, then, and it's in this script, then it obviously can change going forward. And we heard this a while ago, but they do mention at some point the Rangers will be taken back in time to the 1990s, according to the Hollywood Reporter. And according to our own sources, Hasbro new Power Rangers movie will feature an all-new Rangers team, not necessarily just 5 Rangers, and it will include an original lineup of heroes. Okay. When I first heard that, I was like, what the heck? They're going to make just a brand new team of Rangers? Like, it's not going to be any team that we know? It's kind of odd to me. But when I heard it's going to be in the continuity of the TV show, possibly, then it makes sense. Because, let's say, if they say it's in the continuity of the TV show, right? TV shows. Then, let's say you're in modern day, or you're in the future. Maybe you're in the year 3000 something like Time Force, right? And let's say you just introduce brand new characters. So basically, just like Beast Morphers, just like Dino Fury is going to be, you introduce new characters and they have new suits, new Zords, all that, right? If you let's say they come up with a new team and original characters, new suits, new Zords, and they introduce them in this movie, and then they time travel to the 90s, that would be pretty cool. And it's all in continuity with the TV shows. I think that's a win-win for everybody. That's a win-win for Mighty Morphin fans, because I think focusing on Mighty Morphin a little bit leads to more success. As of right now, get the success, and then you can focus more on other seasons and stuff like that, which they're gonna focus on in this movie, and they do mention something about that. But can you imagine a brand new team, brand new characters, brand new suits, brand new Zords, and then they go back to the 90s and interact with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers? I think that's what we're headed for. So they go on to say, we are being told that Hasbro is looking for a diverse cast for the film that includes many different racial backgrounds and members of the LGBTQ community. They have also told us that Hasbro plans to cast a female lead for this upcoming film. We've also learned that Lord Zed will be the main villain of the film, and Zordon will be involved in a time-traveling element that thrusts the Rangers back in time. So like I said, the time travel element. Let's say it's saying it's in the continuity of the TV show. So you take an event from Mighty Morphin Power Rangers where Lord Zed is, maybe it's the attack with Serpentera, whatever it is, right? Zordon realizes they can't handle this. They need help. He teleports a team of Rangers from the 2020s back to the 1990s to work with the Mighty Morphin Power Rangers to defeat Lord Zed. Like, that sounds so amazing, it makes me want to cry. That sounds so amazing, it makes me want to cry. Because, look, I have a Lord Zed figure right here. Right here, if you didn't notice. And if you watched my top 5 villains in Power Rangers history, Lord Zed is my favorite Power Rangers villain of all time. So, I just... that makes me so happy. It really, really does. But, okay, so as far as they're going to get a diverse cast, no duh. Power Rangers has... look at the original Mighty Morphin team. Obviously, you had some white characters. You had an Asian character. You had an African-American character. Every season of Power Rangers has a diverse cast. Power Rangers was ahead of the game and has been doing this ever since 1993. They always have had diverse casts. So it's kind of funny that they mention that because they act like it's a new thing. They were doing it way before all these other franchises were doing it. So there's that. But also, amazing that they're going to include the LGBTQ community. Amazing. But also, Trini in the 2017 movie was a representation of that as well. So there's a little bit of that. Not necessarily throughout the history of Power Rangers, but they did do that in the 2017 movie. So you have that there. But yeah, that is just so incredible to me, the thing. And female lead. Look, I don't want to say it doesn't matter that there's going to be a female lead. Of course it does. But who cares if it's a male or female? Like, just give me a good character. And, of course, look, most movies in Hollywood history have been led by men. So, amazing. Give me a female lead character. And, look, I talk about this all the time. Jen Scott from Time Force, she was the leader of that team. Amazing season. Arguably, that in Space are arguably the best. And there's been other seasons of Power Rangers where a female is the lead character. But also, Power Rangers doesn't have a lead character. Even if you look at Mighty Morphin, Jason is the leader of the team, but he's not the lead of the show. They're almost all equally represented. And that's how it's always been. Yes, there's a leader of the Power Rangers, but there's not really leads of the shows. Like, they're almost always equally represented. I mean, there's rare exceptions. Like Andros in Space, yes, he was the lead of that show. But, like, Jason was the leader, but he wasn't the lead. I don't think Power Rangers always has a lead. And even in the 2017 movie, was the Jason character really the lead of the movie? He was heavily focused on, yes, but they were all equally represented. So I don't know if the Power Rangers has a lead. Just like a lot of team-up movies don't necessarily have a lead. But if a female character is the lead of the team in the present day or future that gets teleported to the 1990s, awesome. And my first thought was, when I heard this, was, oh, it's going to be Time Force, it's going to be Jen Scott's time travel, Time Force. It makes so much sense. But if they're saying it's an original lineup, then it probably not. But I would love it if this team that teleports to the 1990s is the Time Force team and Jen Scott is the lead of this movie. I would absolutely love it because Jen Scott is a top 5, if not top 3 Power Ranger for me. I actually did that list if you want to go check it out. So one last thing, they said, our sources have told us that the upcoming Power Rangers movie being developed developed at Paramount Pictures will feature multiple different looks and Zords throughout Power Ranger history. This could possibly include a variety of suits and Zords from MMPR all the way to the modern era. We assume that this is Hasbro's attempt to capitalize on toy sales for the movie. Okay, look, we all know the reason why they make a new season of Power Rangers almost every year is for the merchandising and the toy sales. A lot of people can say, oh, they're sellouts. No, because if they didn't make that money, we wouldn't have Power Rangers. So we all need to remember that. Sell all the toys you need to so we can continue to get more Power Rangers content, please. But looking at multiple different Zords throughout Ranger history, so if it's just a new team of Rangers traveling to the 1990s, it can be assumed that we're only going to get the new Team Zords and the Mighty Morphin Zords. And if they're saying that this new movie is going to be in continuity with the TV shows, I have a theory. I think this is all leading to Shattered Grid. I've been saying, watch my old episodes, I've been saying, Power Rangers, whatever you're going to do, television, movies, animated, live action, whatever, you have to go towards Shattered Grid. Shattered Grid is some of the most amazing storytelling in any medium I've ever seen. And talking about taking a existing franchise and making it fresh and flipping it on its head and turning it into something so much more, that's what Shattered Grid did. And thank you, Kyle Higgins. Thank you, Kyle Higgins, for that. I actually saw him at Power Morphicon a couple years ago, and I was a little bit too nervous to go talk to him. I was like waiting for my moment, my chance, and I missed it, so whatever. But I did get 2 Lord Draken figures there, though. So there's that. I can't wait to go to Power Morphicon again. I was gonna try to go this year, but it was canceled. But I'm gonna try to go in 2021. But yeah, look, there's time travel, and they're saying they might go to multiple eras of Power Rangers. I don't think this movie is going to be about Shattered Grid, but I think something that happens throughout the times or something with the time travel gets messed up and it opens up the door to lead towards Shattered Grid. Possibly. And look, if Lord Zed is the main... Look, you don't jump straight to Draken, right? But Lord Zed is the next step for Power Rangers in the movies. We got Rita, and I love Rita. I actually really liked Elizabeth Banks' Rita. Like, a lot of people didn't. But I did. And Rita is the classic villain. But Lord Zed is the next step for this. We need a legit, threatening, intimidating Lord Zed. And give us that. Then open the door for Lord Draken. And you could even have, in this movie, when the new team of Rangers time travels to the 1990s, you could have Tommy as the Green Ranger in the 1990s, and just like in the comics, spoiler, you could have Lord Draken come in and kill the younger Tommy. Then it leads to Shattered Grid in the sequel. If we ever get one. And look, please, Power Rangers fans, no matter what, if a new Power Rangers movie comes to theaters, go and watch it in theaters. Don't download it. Don't pirate it. Go and watch it in theaters, because if this movie doesn't make enough money, we're never going to get another Power Rangers movie again. If this movie doesn't make profit. So please, if you're a Power Rangers fan, take your kids, take your friends, take everybody you know, go watch it in theaters. But look, overall, if these reports are true, then it's bittersweet. We're moving on to a new era of Power Rangers. It might not be as we had it before, but we could end up getting something amazing out of it in the end. And I want Power Rangers to be a formidable franchise that people respect. And I'm hoping Hasbro can take it to that next level. So what do you guys think? I know there's probably a lot of Power Ranger fans that are mad at my opinions, and that's okay, because all I can do is give you my opinion. But let me know in the comment section what you thought. That's going to do it for this episode of Off the Grid. Again, I am Jacob Bartley, and this is Off the Grid, a Power Rangers podcast. Thank you all for watching this video. And look, no matter what our favorite season of Power Rangers is, no matter where we come from or who we are, let's celebrate Power Rangers together. Look, all of you who think RPM is the best season, I celebrate that. That's amazing. I can't wait to watch it. I've never seen it. So when I hear you guys talk about that, it gets me so excited to watch it. So let's share the love. Look, Mighty Morphin's my favorite, and you should celebrate that. So there you have it. Again, I'm Jacob Bartley. This is Off the Grid. I will see you all next week. Until then, may the power protect you.